USMNT players are always the talk of the town. Players like Pulisic, McKennie, and Weah are making a name for themselves overseas, but when are they going to be coming back to America? Today, we're going to be talking about when USMNT players should come back to MLS. MLS has been showing incredible growth over the years, but obviously it's not the top tier level as Europe. But players are interested in coming back, coming here, coming home, growing the league as much as possible. What do you guys think about players coming back to MLS from Europe?
What, American ones in
American
particular?
ones, yeah.
I don't think they should. I think European football is a higher standard, and until MLS proves that it will be that high of a standard for someone still in their prime, don't do it. And that is not an MLS specific problem, right? I'd like to make that clear. Don't go to the Saudi League at 25. Don't even go to, like, if you're Christian Pulisic, don't go to Ligue 1 right now. Unless it's PSG and you're not getting in the PSG team, right?
Absolutely.
Like, here's the thing. I get the whole thing, like, I want to rep for my hometown. Like, off the top of my head, Christian Pulisic, geographically, might want to play for the Philly Union someday. Just a guess.
Or Miami, because I think he has a house in Florida now. Yeah,
whatever,
but hypothetically.
Right? Hypothetically. But that doesn't mean he should do it now. Like, you're not going to ask every, like, Spanish player playing overseas to come back and play for Real Madrid or Barcelona or even, like, Athletic Bilbao. Actually, technically they can't, can they? But, like, Valencia, I don't know.
Of course.
But that's not how it works. So I get the hometown thing. I understand that. But, like, not yet.
I think one of the things why I think it'd be great for the league and not necessarily the players. It'd be great for the league because you got to think about it like this.
Right.
Every country. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off, dude, but like footballers are footballers. They owe nothing to the league that they play in. They owe absolutely zero. Like, this is what ticks me off about this stuff, man. Is like same thing with Messi. Everyone's like, Messi's got to do it for the league. No, he doesn't. At the end of the day, Lionel Messi answers to Lionel Messi. Christian Pulisic answers to Christian Pulisic. Now, look, 2029, if the Club World Cup's still in America, by then Pulisic will be, quick maths, what? Past 30?
31, I think.
31. Okay, now maybe you've done your bit in Europe. And if we assume that MLS still improves, the gap's closing, then go to MLS, bro.
Of course. What do you think about players like Gio Reyna, though? Because obviously Gio Reyna is a player who is not playing in Europe. The bids for him have been pretty low, 6 to 8 million. An MLS team could compete for a player like that realistically. And you want American players to grow your own domestic league. What do you think about that?
I have a couple things. First, I want to play a little devil's advocate on what you said earlier. You mentioned, MLS is maybe not a league yet where players aren't, they're not coming in their prime. What better group of players to come in their prime than the USMNT players to set that standard and that stuff? 1994 World Cup happened. MLS spawned from that, and the group of USMNT players at the time who were in their prime all came to MLS, and they were the first stars of the league. You got the Kobe Joneses, the Alexi Lalas's. Obviously, football was in a very different place back then than it is now, to where, the big clubs that they were at were very different, and the level of the game and, the stardom there. But what better time? And even some of those big names have been rumored. We mentioned Gio Reyna, but even like Weston McKennie last year was rumored to go to FC Cincinnati.
He was close.
I remember that. He was close, bro.
Yeah. So I think there's certain players post 2026 that I actually would like to see come to MLS. Pulisic is not one, because I think he still has more to accomplish.
Yeah.
But guys who are maybe mid-level starters on top European clubs or just in Europe, why not, set the standard in MLS?
So that's funny that you say that, because I think, shock horror, there might be nuance here. Like, isn't that crazy? Like, multiple possible answers. Me. Gio Reyna should come to MLS.
Absolutely.
Gio Reyna should be playing in MLS expeditiously tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just not LAFC, please. I know that's the rumor, but
no, seriously,
I
think we have a massive issue with USMNT players going to Europe and just not being focal points of their squads. Like, Christian Pulisic is a focal point of AC Milan.
Is he?
Yeah, he is. The manager Pioli said Rafael Leao, Christian
Pioli.
Yeah.
When was Pioli the manager?
But before, sorry, not Pioli. The manager who's currently the coach of AC Milan now, who just came in, Allegri. Allegri said the untouchables are Rafael Leao, Christian Pulisic, Mike Maignan, and I think one more player. So Christian is obviously an integral part to the squad. But if you go to Juventus in Turin up the road, is Weston McKennie an integral part of Juventus? You go to England now. The only two integral players on their team are going to be in the Premier League, Tyler Adams and Chris Richards, who just became integral last year. So my thing is like, it's great and all to say that you're playing in the English Championship. It's great and all to say that you're playing in these leagues. But how much until the English Championship is enough to even be benefiting you to play on the national team?
Right, so that's an excellent point, and here's where like the nuance comes in, right? Mauricio Pochettino has made it absolutely clear that he is watching MLS, he values MLS, and he thinks there is talent there. Diego Luna is a perfect case study, right? Diego Luna, we can say comfortably, is probably a bit too good for MLS at this point, and will be playing in Europe within 12 months.
I'd like him to go after the World Cup because I think he's going to have like a big boom at the World Cup. So I'm expecting his stock to rise. I'm like, wait to move to the World Cup. Don't fight for your spot on a mid-level club right now. Just stay in MLS, be the guy, be on the USMNT, have a breakout, and then you're gonna be 10+ million than you would have been.
Right. So I agree with that. That makes perfect sense. But like the principle still stands, right? If you play in say the English Championship. Like, if you're Josh Sargent, whose name I can never say for some reason.
He's got to sign with St. Louis. Like, he's got to pull up to St. Louis.
Boom. Boom. If you play there, if you play lower league football in the US, or in Europe, absolutely go to the US, man. Josh Sargent should be playing in MLS, and that would be perfect. He'd be one of the best strikers in this league, and that would be great. Like, that's awesome. Like, Haji Wright, you could make a similar argument. Should be. I mean, I know he's your voice.
Yeah, but
like,
I'm saying, like, I'm even thinking right now, like, obviously Haji had a great year in the championship, and I think he could make that jump to the Premier League. But, like, if that jump doesn't happen between the next 1 to 2 years, it's getting to the point where it's like, you're close to 30, bro. Like, we're talking about every year. Every year you get closer to that 30 mark.
So here's the thing. It also depends on what your ambitions are as a footballer, right? We all sit here and we project, like, I'd do anything to, like, me, I'm like, I'd do anything to play for England. You do anything to play for the USMNT. You do anything to play for Canada or the
Jamaica
US or whatever other eligibilities you have. That's the point. We can't necessarily be sure that footballers always think that way.
Absolutely.
Right? But like, let's say, hypothetically, Haji Wright, Josh Sargent do want to play for the US, then coming to MLS might be the best route for them.
Do you guys think switching the MLS calendar to a European calendar will help entice talent to come over?
I'm not sure how much that will actually affect it. Well, I mean, we'll see with that. But in terms of the U.S. men's national team players, I don't know if that. I don't think they'll care about that necessarily. I'm excited for the potential of it, but I'm also worried. I'm like just as much pro switching the calendar as I'm against it.
Oof.
But it's also weird because I talked to Dane St. Clair at MLS All-Star, and he was talking about how even from Minnesota, which is like one of the cities I'm worried about for switching the calendar. He's like, oh, I'll play in any condition. I'm excited.
Right.
Like, I'm ready for it,
Right. It's interesting. That's a fair point. It's like, dude, Northern Europe still plays in a full spring calendar.
Absolutely.
Like, they're still doing that shit in Denmark, bro.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
And there's less sunlight there.
Yeah, the Scandinavian leagues, they start in January, right? Just like MLS, which is insane to me.
But like, my point is, I'm sorry to cut you off, mate, but like, sure, this actually comes back to a question of like what makes American soccer unique. American soccer is unique because it has playoffs, because it has an all-star game, because it has a salary cap, because it functions on a different calendar. These are all charming things, but if it's about being legit globally, bro, you gotta do full spring.
Absolutely.
I'm more worried, in terms of where MLS fits in just in American sports, because I think going to fall to spring calendar is very dangerous because that's when the NFL is. That's when the NBA is. When MLS is spring to fall, the only thing it's competing with is MLB, and stock in MLS is going up while stock in MLB is going down. And I think that's a great place for MLS to be. But also, even in the world football scale, it truly is a 12-month calendar for someone who supports both their local MLS club and a European club, where you get rid of that having soccer every weekend if we move MLS, and now you have to watch both your European club and your MLS club on the same day, and then there's going to be like 3 months of the year where you don't have either.
That's interesting, and I think, but at the same time, it depends on what your target audience is if you're MLS. Like, who you trying to actually get to watch? And I don't think, he says as he wears an MLS kit, I don't think the league's figured that out.